So far, we have used the MetaMask plugin to connect to the Ethereum network through the browser, or we have used Etherscan to be able to walk through the data explorer on the blockchain. Now, you might be wondering, what if I wanted to run, not on the public networks, but I wanted to run my own private small blockchain that I could use to educate myself, to write some code, and really to have more control over? Well, it turns out that there's a project just for this. The name of the project is Ganache. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the name here, Ganache blockchain. And as you can see here, it is the first hit. It is precisely what I just described. There's a great deal more that you can do with it. I will let you explore at your own leisure. And I'm going to go ahead and walk here simply through some of the simple applications or the hello world of using this blockchain. So I'm going to go ahead and install here. And I've requested it to launch. Now, as you saw, I got the error there that has to do with permissions. So I'm going to go ahead and close the installation. I went ahead and enabled side load apps model. You will have to have administrative permissions. If you do not have a test machine that you can use at work, you could do it on a secondary home device if you want to try this exercise. So I'm going to go ahead and close it and then run it again. Here we go with the installer. I'm going to go ahead and click on install. And as you can see this time, the installation is going through. I'm going to go ahead and opt out of the analytics. And now I'm giving a choice of whether I want to create a new workspace that is more detailed configuration, or if I simply want to do a quick start. And that's what we're going to do here. And one thing to note is that we are creating here a small blockchain, that it is private, that it is for your own use. You can configure it as you like. Once you get into the configuration parts of the application, you can view the blocks, the transactions. If we took a look at it now, you will see that there's only one block. There are no transactions since we haven't performed any. There will be no contracts, events, and on the logs, you will see that pretty much just the launch of the blockchain is available. Now, you should also note that we have a number of blockchain accounts that have been made already as part of that launch. They all have a balance of Ether, and we also have access to the private keys. Now, next, we're going to go ahead and import one of these accounts into MetaMask, and we will be making a connection from MetaMask directly onto our own private local blockchain. So as opposed to connecting to the public Ethereum network, we will connect to our Ganache blockchain in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the keys. But before I do that, let me go ahead and change the location of the server. I'm going to switch to 8545, and that is simply because MetaMask has a pre-configured connection for that. It just makes it easier. So I'm going to go ahead and save and restart. And now I'm going to go ahead and copy one of those accounts. I will go ahead and copy the primary key and then move to MetaMask. Here, we're going to add a new account. We're going to select import account using a private key. I have pasted that private key from the Ganache blockchain. I will now go ahead and import it. And if we switch to it, to that blockchain, because we are at the moment on Rinkeby, we need to be on localhost 8545. You'll see here that now we have 100 Ether. And so just to emphasize, we are using the plugin that we have used before to connect to Ethereum, now to the Ethereum public network or the test networks, which are also public. And now we're using it to connect to our local blockchain. At this moment, I have an account that is 0x9db0. And if we look at the beginning of this account, you can see here that it's 0x9db0. So next we're going to perform a transaction. We have here Alice that has no money on this network. So we're going to go ahead and send her some money. Here is Alice. We're going to be pretty generous and send her 10 Ether. We're going to go ahead and confirm. And as you can see, that has gone through. Now, if we switch accounts and we go to Alice, you can see that Alice has 10 Ether. If we go back to the Ganache account, you can see here that we don't quite have 90 because we had to pay for gas on that transaction. If we come back to our local blockchain here, you can see that we have now not 100 but 90. Also, if we took a look at the blocks, you can see here that there is a transaction that was mined already. You might have seen in some of the configurations that we're creating blocks on demand. We could also take a look at the transaction that we just performed, and you would be able to see the addresses from and to, and you can see there as well the Ether that was transferred. And if we were to look at the logs, we'd see that there's a great deal of more activity, all of it mapping to the transactions that we performed. So go ahead and fire this up, connect it to MetaMask. You can also, I should note, connect to it programmatically. You can connect to it from other clients as well. It is a great resource when it comes to getting going on blockchain. It is also visual, so there's not so much configuration that you need to understand when it comes to command line utilities. You can configure it all through the user interface.